But at the age of 50, I decided to resign.
This call is now being recorded.
So I'm very happy to be speaking to you on my favorite topic today, which is emotional intelligence. And let me tell you that all of us need emotional intelligence, especially in these tough times. We are passing through tough times. They come and go, but this one is a little more impactful and serious. So we have all become a little distraught, depressed, distressed. मैं शशि थरूर टाइप वर्ड्स नहीं यूज करूंगा ज्यादा, लेकिन कोशिश करूंगा बीच में to have some humor, to have some lighter moments, to keep you engaged and involved and keep your attention on the talk. So my point to you is that emotional intelligence is needed in all situations, but especially in tough situations. And what is emotional intelligence? Although I will show a short PPT in a while, but let me just share a basic definition which I have. That is the ability to handle people and situations in a calm and balanced manner. The ability to handle people and situations in a calm and balanced manner. That is emotional intelligence. And Daniel Goleman is the guru of emotional intelligence. He has written books on it. He defined the term, first of all, and he talks of 7 aspects of it. We don't want to get into the technical details. I am not a psychologist, and I know most of you are also not, obviously, because you are from the realm of fashion and design. But it is very important for us to understand the basics of emotional intelligence. Now, the first thing I'd like to present before you, the situation I'd like to present is that a boss is standing with 5 people in the team, and the boss is talking to these 5 people, and the boss knows that one of them has not done the work properly or has been a little irregular with the work, or one of the juniors has not performed as per expectation. Now, should the boss single out that person in front of the other 4 and shout at that person, scold that person, maybe even humiliate that person? Is that the way for the boss to act? Especially when 4 of them are probably junior to that person also. And that person is the senior most out of that group of 5. Then is it correct for the boss to humiliate that junior in front of people who are even more junior to him? Now, emotional intelligence tells us that when you want to correct somebody or scold somebody, or to use Mr. Shashi Tharoor's word, reprimand somebody, then reprimanding somebody is not to be done in public. Humiliation is not the way to get the best out of anybody. You can correct them firmly. You can bring out the best of your team by being firm, by being corrective, by being encouraging, by not scolding anybody in front of others, especially their juniors. Because that person will not forgive your scolding in his mind or her mind. She or he will keep thinking at night about you. Why did you say that in front of that colleague or those colleagues? So emotional intelligence tells us or prepares us to be aware of our surroundings and situation. Who is in my vicinity? Who is listening to me? Can I say this thing in front of all these people? Should I pause and reflect before speaking? That is emotional intelligence. वो कहते हैं, I'll use a bit of Hindi in the middle. वो कहते हैं कि शब्दों की चोट बड़ी गहरी होती है. That means that the words are more injurious than anything else. So they say that the joke is that if शब्दों की चोट गहरी होती है तो फिर छोटे मोटे मामले मारपीट से ही सुलझा लेने चाहिए. Which is not right, of course. But what I'm trying to say is that when we speak without thinking, we can hurt somebody for a lifetime. If you remember your school days, all of you have been to school, that's why you are here. At one point of time, we were all in school. At school, our teachers may have once in a while humiliated us in front of the class. And in front of 50 children, if you are humiliated, you feel terrible. You want to sink into the ground. You want to vanish from there. You don't want to be there at that time. And you don't forget it easily. It takes time to get over something like that in class or in a public domain or in front of your group or friends. So I would say it's extremely important for us to realize before we speak, what are we saying, to whom, and how. This is the key to emotional intelligence. Another important point, and I am from the service, as you know, from IAS, and I have met all kinds of people, all kinds of colleagues, all kinds of public, all kinds of seniors, all kinds of juniors, all kinds of politicians, academicians, industrialists. I can tell you, of course, and you know it, no two people are alike. So the next point that I want to make is to get the best out of any situation or to get the best out of your team, you have to be aware of the human element. What is the human element? These days we are in a situation of artificial intelligence, mechanization, automation. It is not possible for us to be totally without technology. But we cannot allow technology to overtake our lives. The human element has to be there. We have to understand that a human being is not a laptop. A human being is not a smartphone. A human being is a thinking, feeling, emotional being. Emotional, with a certain background, certain heritage, certain family background, financial background, cultural background, regional background. In a country like India, you will find more diversity than anywhere in the world. If you go to Finland or Denmark or Sweden, very little difference between the lifestyle and the nature of people. But in India, you know it. I mean, we living in Punjab or Haryana or Chandigarh, and somebody living in Gujarat, somebody in Bengal, somebody in Tamil Nadu, and I know that many of you have joined from all over India today. It is amazing how much diversity we have. So as a leader of a team, can we understand that each person reacts and responds differently to stimulation, to encouragement, to pressure, to stress? So if each person responds differently because of his or her background or character or makeup means internal makeup, of course. The fashion industry talks more about external makeup, but I will talk about internal makeup. The inner makeup is what matters. So can I say something to a person who is already shy, introvertish, meek, scared, worried? Can I say something a little strongly to that person? Already that person is already very shy and scared. So I will have to think before I speak. To this person, I need to be encouraging. I cannot be disparaging. I cannot be critical. I cannot be over cynical about that person. I really need to mostly encourage this person. And this person will definitely then be working better with me if I am able to do that. If I am not able to do that, if I am able to only scold everybody, then this person will never work well. Because he or she already has a personality which is timid. Timid. That means shy, quiet, introvert, good worker, hardworking, very meticulous, very careful with the paperwork, very laborious, sits for long hours, but does not have confidence, does not have much courage. I cannot afford to scold this person. That's my emotional intelligence telling me. This person only needs to be handled with care. You need to encourage mostly. And you need to sometimes maybe tell that person, isko aise kar lo, do it like this, do it like that, do it in another way. That is the only thing you can do. You can be firm. You can say, see, yesterday you weren't very professional with your work. Today I'm sure you will be better. That is the way to correct someone. If you are going to humiliate and shout, this person will vanish from there. He will take chutti and go, will never come back, possibly. The other person I want to talk about is of a character which is the opposite, nature which is opposite. High flying, aggressive, dynamic, bold, courageous, over courageous at times, brash. इसको बोलते हैं rash and brash. That means too much in the face, too talkative, too loud, too energetic. This person needs to be controlled. This person needs to be slightly controlled a little more. You have to tell this person that you are too much too energetic. Without thinking, sometimes you say something, do something, then we have to correct that. So having energy is good, but think before you work like this. Think before you talk like this. Think before you act like this. And this person also may have a flamboyant personality. Very stylish, very smart, always late, but always late. Because the smart people, they take time to get ready in the morning and therefore they are late. The personality is such that the person, you'll find this type of personality, psychologists will tell you. And they will say that this kind of personality needs to be toned down, needs to be controlled, needs to be slightly encouraged, and needs to be perhaps made to be aware that he or she is a little too much. He or she is going a little overboard. So you need to have the emotional intelligence to understand that this person needs to be handled differently from the first person. Let me show you a PPT now. Is it possible to share, Harpreet?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me go to the menu. Where can I see the share button?
Sir, present now. Arrow on top.
Oh, present now. Present now.
Yes, present.
Present now. While I upload this PPT, you can think about what I said. Can you see it, Harpreet?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
It is coming, sir.
Very good. So now I'm going to just take you through some slides and emphasize what I already said. So kindly be with me. Can you still see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I'm going to the next slide. So from this presentation, the takeaways are that firstly, you should be able to see the bigger picture. Not the bigger picture of the screen, but the bigger picture of life. The bigger picture of what are we here for in this world? Am I going to be able to make a mark in life? Will I lead a happy life? Will I lead a life that is worth living, worth inspiring others? Secondly, the ability to handle tension and stress, which is also extremely important. It is really, really important that we should be very, very understanding of our stress and how to handle it. Thirdly, calmness is our best friend. Calmness is the best friend you can have. It is the best quality you can have. Calmness means that you are living a superior life. Being irritated all the time, complaining all the time, criticizing all the time is not going to lead to a happy life. Improved understanding of others, colleagues, friends, even spouse, relationships, family members. Extremely important that we understand. When we have higher emotional intelligence, we will understand others better. Balanced leadership skills. All of us are leaders. I always say that even a 4-year-old child is a leader because the 2-year-old sibling, sister, brother is looking at that 4-year-old, Bhaiya, Didi, Bhaiya is doing like this, Didi is doing this, I will also do it. So leadership qualities are required by every human being. And we certainly are in positions of leadership, and we should. Reduced proclivity or tendency towards anger. And cheerfulness instead of irritability. So if we are all leaders and we are all professors, or we are all professionals, or we are all teachers, we need emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is about positive thinking. And positive thinking is something which comes naturally to people. But some people become the ones who always think of the worst. And they share the worst on WhatsApp, they share the worst on Facebook, they keep criticizing and they keep complaining. Others have empathy and understanding and positive thinking abilities. Of course, we are human, but 80% of the time, we can still be positive and cheerful and have empathy for others. Sometimes 10-20% or even 5% is quite okay. We are not ourselves, we lose our cool, we are low, it's okay once in a while. We are human. And a degree in people means we understand people. Understanding your books and your trade and your profession is one thing. I often say that a software professional who knows coding very well, software very well, after 3 years or 5 years, he or she has to become a team leader. That team leader then has to bring out the best out of the team. And that is what is the key. People's skills. And as I said, seeing the bigger picture is required. You always have a vision. You have a vision that tomorrow also will come. Next year will also come. And my organization is big. And my organization is part of a bigger organization of country. So I need to see all this. Then balance. Balance means I don't go overboard with one thing. I don't overdo one type of behavior, one type of conduct. Too much work also is not good. Work-life balance, creativity is required, self-development is required, meditation is required, physical exercise is required, family time is required. So balancing our lives. Calmness. Calmness, as I said, is the best friend you can have. Be calm most of the time. And we lead by example. We cannot go on telling people, ye karo, do this, do this, do this, do this. They will follow our example, not our words. Especially children follow the parents' example. If parents are doing a particular thing, they will also do it. So you can't tell your children, don't do this when you are doing it. That is how it works.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes?
Sir, first slide is only visible.
Only first slide is visible. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, now is this slide visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Third
sir,
slide is visible.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
this is the slide I was talking about right now. And I've covered these points. So now I'll go to the next one. Positive thinking. Positive thinking means that you see the invisible. That means you perceive. You're a perceptive person. You can sense the mood of the nation or the mood of the people or the mood of the group. And you feel the intangible means that you are able to understand the intangible. That means that which is not visible, that which is not solid. And achieve the impossible may not be possible, but at least you think positively. One example I'd like to give you is Mr. Narayan Murthy. If you look at Mr. Narayan Murthy, he founder of Infosys. Within 2 years, Infosys was going to be shut down in the beginning. 4 people were there. He did not allow them to shut down. He said, we must carry on. Today, there are probably about 3 to 4 lakh people in Infosys. Many billions of dollars of turnover with a good culture, work culture. One of the best companies to work for. So I think it is a very good example of positive thinking, how you can succeed. And Mr. J.R.D. Tata. Mr. J.R.D. Tata was the chairman of Tata's, a great human being. Even Ratan Tata, you know the Tata ethos. Transparent, honest company with integrity. Always ready to serve. Always ready to come up with something for the nation. And Ratan Tata, or rather J.R.D. Tata and Narayan Murthy have a common story. And I will tell you that story after this PPT because that will be better when I am visible. Then comes Mike Brearley, who used to be the captain of England in the good old days when England was equipped with players like Ian Botham, David Gower, Graham Gooch, and rarely was the best captain they ever had because he could understand people, just like MS Dhoni for us. He could understand the team very well. And even Kohli is becoming a better captain now. And this is the picture of Paramhans Yogananda, the author of the autobiography of a yogi, which is my favorite book. And many of you may have seen it or read it in your family or elsewhere. After my talk, we'll have an interaction. You can talk about which books you like to read or whatever. So he said, see the bigger picture of life. We have come here for a short time. Even 80 years, 90 years, 100 years, whatever the expectation of life, it is a short journey. We need to make a mark. We need to see the bigger picture. We don't need to run after things which don't really matter in the long run. And balance means that we are basing our actions on inspiration, not domination, cooperation, not intimidation. That means we take everybody along. We try to get their feedback and we make them cooperate and then we move along, not by scolding and intimidating. Let me emphasize once more how important calmness is in the mind. If you look at the pond, the water is still, the moon is reflected clearly in the pond. But when the water is ruffled, then no. You can see the moon's image is distorted. Similarly, we need to be actively calm. Paramhans Yogananda said, be calmly active and actively calm. And this is the best quote I've ever heard. Be calmly active and actively calm. What does it mean? It means you need to be dynamic and busy in today's era, but your mind is always calm. And reacting or responding to situations calmly. Monday morning or any busy time when you are back to work, office, you will be fretting and stressed out and in a rush. Better to be ready on time and go aram se and reach on time, calmly. At the end of the day, many people lose their cool because they are tired. They are mentally tired, physically tired. But we try to retain our calmness, and even then. And then you think about this last question on the slide. What I am losing my cool or patience over, does it really matter? So by leading by example, we are showing our emotional intelligence. Being a leader means being a leader all the time. If some subordinate or colleague calls up at 12 in the midnight and you say, nahi, main nahi baat, I can't talk to you because you are, I'm sleeping, but that person has a genuine problem. You have to show your leadership qualities even at that time. Though it may be rare. Then actions speak louder than words. As I said, if a father has been crossing the red light all his life with the children sitting at the back in the car, and now that boy or girl is 18 years old, he says, beta, don't cross the red light. Why will that child listen to it? Of course, we are human, we have weaknesses and frailties, but we have to live what we say. Panic shows on our face, in our behavior. Anybody can make out that boss or the teacher or the leader is panicking today. So we have to be resilient and prepare for stressful situations by practicing calmness. Crisis management is also required at times. Being a shock absorber is also required. A leader should not add to the stress of the team, should reduce the stress. And as I said earlier, recognize silent as well as siren types. That means the quiet, shy person or the bold, aggressive person. Okay, 2 more slides I'll show you and then we'll go back to our discussion. A leader is a leader all the time. We already saw that. A leader has to be emotionally intelligent enough to be ahead of the game. That means that I am not reacting only to what is happening. I'm not only firefighting. I envision that this is going to happen in July, August, September. I should be ready for it. Cheerfulness is a great quality. Those who are cheerful, smiling and helpful, they are always popular. They always have goodwill. You may not be, you don't have to be weak. You don't have to be only taking popular decisions. You can take the right decision and be firm. But mostly you're cheerful. Then being receptive is also a great quality. Listening properly to others, being a good listener, and taking feedback. And good communication skills are also needed. Speaking well, writing well, communicating clearly, and listening also very carefully. Communication is two-way. Then firmness, as I said, you don't need to lose your cool. Don't lose your temper too much. No point in losing your temper 10 times a day or 5 times a day. It doesn't work. It only adds to your health problems. And being decisive is also a great quality. Being able to think clearly. Sometimes in a corporate world, we need to delegate work, but we are too attached to that position or that work. We can delegate to our subordinate, but we feel, no, why should I give it to him? So you should be able to delegate when required. And realize that everything is not urgent. Sometimes you can take it easy, but it is important. Get it done within 1 week. So everything is not urgent. Our life is not urgent. We should not be always on, always technically or involved with the smartphone, this, that, too much social media, too much of brain work. And at times we have to multitask. Being all-rounders, we multitask. And like Dhoni, we can be captain, wicket-keeper, batsman. But when you are wicket-keeping, then you think only of wicket-keeping. When you are reading a book, you are only reading that book. You're mindful of that moment. Extremely important. I just want to show you this photograph of Mr. Barack Obama. Now, this person was the US president for 8 years. He could smile like this while he was president of the US. He and his wife, you know, they are wonderful examples for others. Michelle Obama and Barack Obama. Now, what are you and I worried about when the president of the US can smile like this? We are never going to be, I think, I don't know about you, but at least I am never going to be more powerful than him. Why are we so much worried about things? When we can smile, we must smile like this. And just to close this presentation, once again, this quote is very important. Be calmly active and actively calm. So I'm going to now come back to the video and I'm going to tell you a couple of stories. And then we can have an interaction also. Thank you very much for that. And Harpreet, when do you want me to start the interaction?
Sir, it is 1.5 hour session, followed by 30 minutes interaction. Right.
So what I can do after 5 minutes, I'll have a short interaction now, and then we'll have the main interaction at about 1:20 or 1:20 or so. Okay. Now, I will tell you two stories here. One story is about Mr. J.R.D. Tata and Sudha Murthy. Narayan Murthy and Sudha Murthy were just married. They were in Bombay. Sudha Murthy was working for Tata's. And Narayan Murthy was working, obviously he was the founder of Infosys. And what happened was that Narayan Murthy used to pick up Sudha Murthy from the Tata office in the evening at 6 o'clock or 6:30, whatever. One day he was late because he was busy. There were no mobiles. She was waiting and worried. Why is he not come? It was 7 o'clock or 7:15. Mr. J.R.D. Tata comes out of the office at that time to go home. And he spots this young girl, 22, 23 years old hardly, in a sari, standing there, South Indian girl. And he goes up to her, the Mercedes is waiting, the driver is waiting, PA is waiting. Tata Saab goes to this young lady. Why are you standing here? It's already dark, it was December. She says, sir, my husband has not come, I'm waiting for the car. He says, I will stand with you. 20-25 minutes more it took Murthy to come. And this 70-year-old gentleman, Mr. J.R.D. Tata, stood with her and made her feel safe and encouraged, and he talked to her. She was the junior most employee. Now, for your information, luckily I had the opportunity to interview Sudha Murthy online recently, only a few months ago. I asked her about this episode and she said, yes, very much so. It happened. And she says that, and she's an author now, as you know, very popular, even more popular than Narayan Murthy. And she says that I had written a letter to Mr. Tata for girls to be allowed to work for Tatas. And in that particular station of Tata's, where I think in Jamshedpur, although she was in Bombay now, but they did not allow girls to work in that factory. And she was an engineer, she wanted to work for Tata's. Her letter made JRD Tata open the gates for ladies to come into that factory. And Sudha Murthy was one of the first employees of that, female employees of that particular part of the company. So all that history we learn. From JRD Tata, we learn so much humility. Even for the youngest employee, he has that empathy. From Sudha Murthy, we learn humility again. From Narayan Murthy also, we learn humility. He stands in the line even today at Infosys. If he goes, there is a cafe where people are having lunch. He's the mentor, chairman, emeritus, whatever. He's standing at the last in the row. He doesn't jump to the front of the queue like a VVIP. Pata nahi kitne marzi V laga lo. The point is that we have to be humble. And I gave you some points on emotional intelligence which are extremely important. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about why I want to give the example of Mr. Barack Obama and Mrs. Michelle Obama. Firstly, a family man with the children. In 8 years, you never saw them spoiled. Never saw him angry. Never saw the children being pampered, over pampered, or looking as if they are spoiled, or, many of our rich industrialists, their children look spoiled. And now they are also 30 years old or whatever, they look overweight, they look spoiled. We have to see that we do not treat our success as if it is our right. We have to treat it with humility. And Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, there is a joke or a lighter moment which will also illustrate the intelligence and emotional intelligence of Michelle Obama in particular. So both of them went out once to have lunch in a restaurant on a Sunday. And even as president of the US, he would go to a restaurant for lunch. And they were sitting for lunch, both of them, and a man sitting at another table comes to them. He says, "Hello, Mr. President," and "Hello, Michelle." Says, "Michelle, I was your classmate in college. You remember?" So she says, "Yes, of course, you were my classmate." They start talking. And Barack Obama is eating quietly, listening to them. 5-10 minutes they talk and he goes. And then Michelle says to Barack, she says, "Had I not married you, I would have married him." Now you think of this situation. Any husband who is told that she would have married this man. So Barack Obama looks at this fellow, at this person, carefully now. What is this guy who Michelle would have married? Then Barack says, "Then you would not have been married to the President of the United States." And Michelle says, "No, you are wrong. Then he would have been the President of the United States of America." So the woman behind the man or the man behind the woman is extremely important. Extremely important. Okay, if any comments till now or any questions till now, you can ask me now. I am getting a lot of smiles and thank yous, but I would be happy if anybody can ask me anything till now. Otherwise, I'll go on with my presentation.
Very good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Praveen, Dr. Praveen. Yes.
Yeah, sir. First of all, let me congratulate or let me thank you that you have made the session so cheerful. The last quote which you have made related to the man behind the woman and the woman behind the man. So my question is in the situation, that's a part of the joke. But in the situation where we are working with a very private organizations, and in that it might happen we have to be sometimes work hard. It has been given 1 day or the 2 days time wherein we have to do the work. So in that, how to maintain that emotional intelligence as you have talked about? Not as a part of the leader.
That's right. That's right. It's a very good question, Praveen. And I'm also glad that more than 130 people are now on this call. And it's a very important topic. So good we are discussing it. I'm sure all of you will remain connected with me later. I'm an author and a speaker. So before I answer Praveen's question, let me just show you my book also. It's called Finding Success Within. It's 52 life skills for people to be successful and happy. And happiness being the goal of life and the calmness within, I talk about it in this book. It has also come in Hindi, been translated yesterday or day before I got this Hindi copy. It's called Safalta Ki Aantarik Khoj. And we can remain connected on Instagram or LinkedIn after this. I'll be very happy. So Praveen, let me say that we are not working in isolation. All these qualities that I'm talking about, or all these assets or skills that we need, they are to be applied in real life situations. One of the situations you have described is very correct. Often there is a challenging task, hard work is required. We have to work extremely hard to complete our timelines, complete our tasks, complete our goals, complete whatever we had to do. And it's extremely, extremely important for us to complete it. And until we do it, the boss or the organization will not be happy, and we will be losing time or losing reputation also. So I would say that in such a situation, to handle the stress becomes easier if we have already been practicing stress management, emotional intelligence, calmness offline. Offline means when we are not in the middle of that situation. You see, everybody says that count to 100 whenever you feel angry. Us time kaun 100 tak count karta hai? Nobody counts to 100 at that time. Because you are provoked, you are in the middle of a tension. You forget that formula at that time, you will go ahead and shout. So if you have practiced calmness before, during your regular time, during your easy times, during your good times, you will find it easier to handle the stressful times also. And ultimately, if we look at it, life is about a long journey. Even this pandemic is here for 1.25 years now in India. 1.25 years is a small time if you look at it in a long life. Even if I say it's a short journey on this planet, but still 1 year is 1.25 years, not that big. So this too shall pass. That stressful time in which you are there, that will also pass. You give your best, you can't do anything else. So I think you practice more and you will find the answer to that problem. Is that okay? All right, I have another question on the chat. I'll just take that and then I'll go on with the presentation. So, Sushal is asking the name of the book shared on WhatsApp. I'll do that. And Sonia ma'am is asking, how do we explain the importance of calmness to teenagers? You see, teenage is the time when all of us were different. You and I were also different when we were teenagers. गुस्सा भी आता था और excitement भी होती है, hormones भी होते हैं, बहुत कुछ होता है. Teenage is a tough time. It's a tough time in terms of transition. The voice changes, the looks change, the height changes, the personality changes. So there, the calmness levels are bound to be lower, and their youngsters are excited. But relatively, if you look at it, one teenager is calmer than the other. One teenager is more balanced than the other. So that teenager can at least try to emulate the other teenager. Maybe that teenager, no teenager can be as calm as a 40-year-old or a 30-year-old or a 20 or an older person, but even older persons at times are very, very restless. So the calmest person in the world will not be a teenager, that's for sure. But a teenager can be calmer than he or she is today by perhaps practicing more of physical exercise. Because when they burn calories outdoors, they also release happy hormones and they reduce stress. These hormones, and many of you may be doctors as well, these hormones are dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins, serotonin. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I learned these four. And these four hormones are produced when we do activities like sports, music, dance, games, good food, good company, laughter. These are the activities which lead to the yoga. These activities lead to happy hormones. So the teenagers have to be involved in these activities, in group activities, in discussions. And at times, if they lose their temper, it's okay. But too many tantrums are also not good. Throwing something, getting angry, and patient listening and understanding is required by the parents. Parents cannot afford to be as restless as the teenagers. So let's try that. I hope I answered part of your question at least.
Great,
Okay.
sir. Great.
Harpreet, should I go on?
Yes, sir. Please proceed further.
Okay. So now I'm going to give you a little couple of stories from my own service career and how they help in emotional intelligence helps to handle the situation. Now, I was a young officer at 26 years old, perhaps. I was SDM of Kalka. Kalka is the town going to Himachal, it's the last town of Haryana. I was SDM Kalka. And I was sitting in my office, new boy, 26-year-old. I was sitting in the office and an elderly person came from a remote village of the area. He says to me, Saab ji, I've got an application for you. I know many people are from non-Hindi speaking states, so I'm speaking in English only. He gets an application and he gives this application to me. And he says, sir, I want you to help me with this matter. It's my property matter and I have been giving applications for the last 15 years and nothing has happened. So I said, why not? It seems to be in order. I will get it examined, don't worry. So I wrote something to the Tahsildar, who's the other officer, please get this done within 10 days and sent it off. But this man, while going, he tells me, he says, sir, I have met many SDMs before you. It was never done. Again, I have come with half-hearted enthusiasm. I'm not sure, but hopefully you will be able to help me. Now, after 10 days, he comes again. Again, it was not done because I had written something in routine. The Tahsildar took it in routine and it didn't happen. He says, Sahab ji, I told you that nothing will move and nothing has moved. I said, oh, that's very bad. Again, I wrote within 5 days. Again, he came within 5 days, sir, nothing has happened. Now he was losing his cool also. He says, sir, I know I'm just wasting my time in your office. So I was a young boy. I said, it's not possible. I said, how is it possible? I called the Tahsildar. You come here. Now this man has come to me for the third time. His job is not that complicated. He says, sir, it will take time, 2-3 hours, this, that, 2-3 hours, do it today. Then I made them sit in my office and got this work done. Now this man, when I looked at his face, 15 years, not only these 3 visits, he looks at me. He says, sir, I can't believe it. I said, but right now in front of you is the paper. He said, but I can't believe it. So that moment of my life made me realize that the bigger picture of life is this. When you have brought tears of happiness to somebody's eyes, that is your aim. Your aim is not to become dirty rich. So rich that you can't even count the rooms in your mansion, or you can't even count the number of cars you have, or even why do we need that biggest car? Why do we need the bigger car also? If your car can drive from here to Chennai also, then what is the problem? So my point here is that this story highlights the fact that the tears of happiness in that man's eyes I can never forget. Now it is almost 27 years or 28 years to that episode. And this is something which I cannot forget. And I'm telling you that this particular person, he became my greatest ambassador. He would go around telling everybody, Saab ne mera aisa kaam kar diya, nobody could have done it. He's done it. So I was very, very, early in life, I realized that helping the common man is something we must focus on. Another story which highlights the same point, very important, all these stories are important for emotional intelligence. You must have seen on television many years ago, there was a documentary, short documentary. This man would went to clerk in the college. Many of you are from colleges. He went to the admission clerk in the college with his daughter, and the time was 4 p.m. and the last form could be accepted till 4:30 p.m. He was in the line. He was third or fourth in the number. By the time his turn came, it was 4:10. Still 20 minutes to go. His daughter was with him. But the clerk at the window, he gets up. He says, wait, please wait. My daughter's admission is at stake. It's the last date. He said, no, I have to submit my report. I have no time now. It's over. Finished. And that clerk gets up and goes with the papers. Now this man is left high and dry. He complains to somebody, but doesn't work. He gets the girl admission somewhere else. Goes and sits in his office. After 1 month, the clerk at the window has gone to an office for his driving license or renewal of a driving license. The man sitting there is that father of that girl. Now this clerk doesn't recognize him because he was so full of himself. He did not stop for 20 minutes also. The man at the seat recognizes him because he definitely had an impact on his mind, negative impact. So when his turn comes, that person does the work immediately. License ho gaya, renewed. And his clerk is very happy about to go. He says, this gentleman says, please stop for 1 minute. He said, do you remember I came with my daughter and you did not accept the form? Then this man remembers and he is, what they say, pani, feeling so embarrassed. The emotional intelligence in this story is that when we treat somebody in a particular way, you can expect them normally to treat you in the same way. If you treat somebody with empathy and kindness, your goodwill will grow. What is the earning of life, by the way? The earning of life is goodwill. All the other earnings don't matter. If 4 people are talking well, highly about you behind your back, that is your goodwill. That is your earning. That is your reputation. Without that, life is incomplete. So if we have helped others, the universe conspires to help us. That is the saying. And this brings me to the point that we need to balance our body, mind, and soul. Whether you are following any religion, the soul is important. And you follow your scriptures, you follow your part, you follow your religion, you do whatever you have to do. But you remember that I need to work on my spiritual progress. I need to work on my connection with God. And if you start having God in your life, and I know this is a professional lecture, not satsang, but let me tell you for 5 minutes that it is very important for you to stay connected and thankful to the Almighty, whatever religion you follow. When you're thankful to the Almighty for small things, He starts helping you in big things also. So we need to be grateful. Grateful to God, grateful to parents, grateful to colleagues, grateful to friends, grateful to family. An attitude of gratefulness and thankfulness will take us very much forward in our lives. We will become happier individuals. And those of you who don't meditate as of now, whatever meditation you do, it will help you. Even if you follow any path, but follow some technique of meditation. I must share with you, and I share openly nowadays, I meditate twice a day, and my wife and I, 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening. Voluntary retirement helps me, of course. But anybody who meditates even 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening, will find life to be better. Meditation helps us in many ways. It calms our breath and mind. Breath calmness is also important. Mind calmness is also important. It also helps us to become physically healthier. because the brain gets a rest, the mind gets a rest, body gets a rest. The heart pumping action becomes slower. As when we sleep, the heart relaxes. But while sleeping, again, the heart is still pumping. In meditation, the heart becomes really relaxed and your body, mind, and soul are charged. So whatever meditation technique you follow, I'm sure you will benefit by it. Please follow that meditation technique. In fact, why don't we do a 1-minute meditation? This is just a simple technique, not to be do with any religion or any spirituality. It's just a simple technique. So please sit straight with your spine straight and close your eyes. Only for 1 minute we will do this. Close your eyes and concentrate at the point between the eyebrows, where the ladies used to put the bindi. Nowadays they don't put bindi, but anyway, we concentrate on the point between the eyebrows, and we simply notice our breath coming in and out. Don't control the breath. Watch it as if you are watching a baby sleeping. Focus on the point between the eyebrows and gently notice your breath coming in and out. If you want to say some mantra along with it in your mind, you can. But just watch your breath. Just 40 seconds more. Thank you. You see, if you do this even once or twice a day or 3-4 times a day, you will find 3 perceptible effects. This is only 1 minute. You try to do for 5-10 minutes. Your breath becomes calmer, which means your whole body relaxes more. Your mind becomes calmer. Your thoughts reduce. Of course, we are human. Our thoughts keep coming. They cannot be stopped. The mind is very difficult to control, but at least it becomes a little calmer. And thirdly, the spiritual purpose also is achieved. We are getting closer to the divine. That is also very important. So let me say that by working on your calmness, by meditation, by balancing your life, by responding in a balanced way to provocation or situations, you are improving your life. You are improving your body, mind, and soul. Your emotional intelligence will be perfect if you can practice this kind of emotional intelligence. And if you practice emotional intelligence, people will start loving you more. Your family, your friends, you will become very popular. This person is very calm. This person doesn't keep complaining. This person doesn't keep on rushing here and there unnecessarily, shouting all the time, cribbing all the time. There's no point. Let me take 2 questions which are there in the middle, and then we'll come to the question answer again in about 15 minutes time. Navdeep is saying, do you think that social emotional learning and ethical learning should start at all academic institutes at various countries? Yes, many schools have started this, Navdeep, and schools are benefiting by it. And they have started imbibing these in the children. You see, it's absolutely very important what you're saying. Social emotional learning, I've spoken at a conference on this and I was going through the details. Children coming from different backgrounds do not accept children from other backgrounds. And grown-ups also. You will always find, even in today's very free era, the men will always be with the men. The women will always be with the women. Intermixing becomes a little rare. Older people will always be with older people and kids will always be with kids. This is how human beings are. By mixing with others, by understanding others, we learn, we grow. People who are not like us. Somebody who eats dosa or idli or filter coffee, I love that, by the way, that's my favorite food. And somebody who eats chole bhature and things like that, their personalities also are different. But they can be friends, they can be close, and they can be attached. So it's important for us to have social emotional learning in order to understand that everybody is from a different social background. Emotions are different, their behavior is different, their conduct is different, but they can get along very well. Let's take the example of the cricket team of India. 11 people or 14 people, all from different parts of India. In the earlier times, Sachin Tendulkar from Maharashtra, Lakshman from Hyderabad, Dravid from Bangalore, Ganguly from Bengal, Harbhajan from Punjab, Kumble from Bangalore, Sehwag from Delhi. I can remember Gambhir from Delhi, Srinath from, I think, Bangalore. And we also used to have Venkatpati Raju from Hyderabad. There must have been some from Chennai. For example, Ashwin is from Chennai. So this country is so diverse. Dhoni from Jharkhand, Kohli from Delhi. All these people can work together, play together, bond together for India because they have that much empathy and understanding for each other. Of course, in the evening, the Chennai two boys will stay together and the Punjabi boys will stay together. It's okay. You are bonding with your type of group, your language, but you get along well with everybody. That is your emotional intelligence. And if you look at Chak De India, a very popular film, Chak De India with Shah Rukh Khan, and the girls from different states, how he made them bond with each other. There was a girl in that played by Haryana girl, Komal Chautala. She was supposed to be 5 feet tall and she was such a good forward. And there was another young girl from Chandigarh, who was supposed to be from Chandigarh, who is now married to Zahir Khan, that lady, who is an actress in that film. And she had totally different personalities. One lady very tall and beautiful and smart, the other short and gritty, but both forwards. They could not get on with each other. They wouldn't pass the ball to each other. But Shah Rukh Khan managed, the character of the coach, he managed to get them to bond together. He managed to get them to win the World Cup also. Because of their bonding, finally they could understand each other. Very important for us to bring out the best in our colleagues and our friends by bonding like this. And of course, as I said, 90% of the time you can be like this, maybe 10% you are not. Maybe 10% of the time you are doing wrong things. But it's okay. It should not be the other way around. 90-10 is okay. But 10-90 is not okay. Understand? So we understand that most of the time we have to be at our best conduct and behavior and control our emotional reactions. We cannot afford to slip up over there. I'm going to tell you 2 more stories about my some examples of this. One of them you will like a lot, and that is a very famous, popular one. And that is Einstein. Albert Einstein was lecturing in America. You all know about the greatness of Einstein. And he was a very popular speaker, obviously. And E is equal to mc square, theory of relativity. He would go on speaking about that. He would go to one university town, then go to the next university town, then go to the next university town. And he was always speaking for 1.5 hours or 2 hours on the theory of relativity. And the driver was the same. The driver would sit at the back and listen to Einstein's lecture. And then they would stay the night, and next morning the driver would drive him off to the next university town. 24 times Einstein delivered the lecture in that series, and 24 times the driver heard it sitting at the back. Now they were going to the 25th town, university town. And unlike, you know my photograph, you can Google me, find me on Instagram, find me on LinkedIn. You know what I do for my birthday party, this, that, everything is in the open. But they did not know how Einstein looks also. It was not a digital era, 1920s, 30s. The driver says to Mr. Einstein on the way to the 25th town, Mr. Einstein, I've heard your lecture 24 times. I think even I can deliver this lecture now. And Einstein is a great man, humble man. He's shocked by this, but he is humble. He says, in the next town, they don't know how I look. I will become the driver, you become Einstein. And you deliver the lecture. And they reach there, Einstein is the driver. The driver is received with a bouquet of flowers. If I come to NIIFT Ludhiana, I'm sure I'll receive some flowers. And on Google Meet, you can only receive 2 flowers.
Sure, sir. You are welcome, sir.
Yeah, I'm only joking. Arvind. The point is that the driver was received with flowers. And Mr. Einstein went and sat at the back of the hall like a driver, pretending to be the driver. The driver went onto the stage and delivered a lecture on the theory of relativity for 90 minutes. Everybody clapped, everybody applauded, brilliant lecture, flawless, perfect. And Einstein was the most delighted. He was sitting at the back, and he was standing on the chair and clapping. Now there was one professor in the front row, like Professor Harpreet, and he had a very complicated question. As always, professors have complicated questions. Now the driver looks at him when he asks that question. Obviously, he doesn't know the answer. He looks at him. He says, Professor, that is such a simple question. I think even my driver sitting at the back can answer this question. Now we all know that the driver at the back was Einstein. What do we learn from this man, this driver? We learn a few qualities. Firstly, courage. Courage to speak before Einstein that I want to deliver your lecture. Einstein may have thrown him out. He could have, I don't need you as my driver. You want to copy me? You go away. But he did not. We learn humility from Einstein. We learn gentleness, greatness from Einstein. And this driver's courage, coupled with intelligence, that he could recall and retain that lecture. Thirdly, calmness. Calmness to stand on the stage and deliver that lecture. Kabhi bhi police aa jayegi, he'll be caught, or Einstein will catch him, or whatever. What are you doing? You're destroying my lecture. You're saying all the wrong things. But he was so calm. Fourthly, of course, and that is another topic that I often speak on. I have many workshops on public speaking skills. Many workshops, so you can always contact me for that. Public speaking skills. Nobody, being a driver, can deliver a 90-minute speech. He had that quality. And lastly, most important, when the professor asks a difficult question, he has presence of mind. Many of you may have been thinking of that answer. Presence of mind to turn the tables, to say that my driver will answer it. These are the things, these are the ways in which we retain our calmness. Of course, we don't want to be like that, Einstein's driver, but it is possible to retain our calmness like this. Now, there's another story which will highlight my point. A lady was late for her flight. It could have been a man. Please, ladies, don't get me wrong. This is not about ladies and men. It's just a story. So the lady was late for her flight, and she reaches the airport running, and she finds that the flight is 1 hour late. Now she heaves a sigh of relief, but she's very upset also because she has to reach Bombay, and she's in Delhi, and she will miss the meeting. She'll reach the office late. So she's very upset. She sits down, but she buys a packet of biscuits, sits down and starts looking at her phone and this, that. There is a man sitting next to her who opens the packet of biscuits and eats one biscuit. Now she is very shocked. Why is this man eating my biscuits? And firstly, she's already in a temper because the flight is late. She thought it must be by mistake. She doesn't say anything to him. She picks up the packet of biscuits and eats one biscuit herself. The man eats the third one. The girl eats the fourth one. They keep eating one biscuit one by one. And she's fuming, angry. But she doesn't say anything. She just keeps eating biscuit and he keeps eating biscuits. The packet is finished. Last biscuit is left. The man breaks the biscuit into half, gives a half and has a half. Now, the flight is announced in a while. She goes towards the gate. She opens her bag to take out the boarding pass. The packet of biscuits is in the bag. She had been eating his biscuits, not he was eating her biscuits. Now look at the state of mind. She feels so bad, sorry about her anger. Luckily, she didn't say anything to him. And it could be that this man was just, being good to her. The point is that we have to understand, we cannot allow our mind to be distracted so much. Emotional intelligence also means living the present moment. Living the present moment. It's very, very important that we focus on mindfulness. Mindfulness is also a very important component of concentration, of emotional intelligence, being aware of this moment. Otherwise, I'm speaking. And if I'm not speaking impressively, then people's attentions will wander here and there. Hopefully and luckily, I'm a TEDx speaker. I have 8 TEDx talks, by the way, and you can watch them on YouTube. I am every day I'm holding workshops, and you can find me somewhere on YouTube. My channel is Vivek Atre, same spellings as my name. And Instagram also is the same. You can search for me in the same way. But the point is that all I emphasize is that we need to be creative. We need to be balanced. We need to be calm. We need to be understanding. We need to have mindfulness. We need to work on our body, mind, and soul. We need to be prepared for the next day and the next time to come. We need to reduce our stress and fear and worry. Worry is a break. Worry is not helping us in any way. Of course, we are going through stressful times, but worrying unnecessarily is not helping us. Anybody who's posting negative forwards or scary things about this fungus, that fungus, don't do it. There's no point. And being independent-minded, being creative, being strong, being helpful to others. In fact, we have started a motivational series through a think tank called Suvichar. And Suvichar has started motivating the motivators. If any of you wants to be a motivator, even not a speaker, but anyway, motivating others, you can contact me, and we are making a network of motivators. Very, very important to motivate others. I'll end with an advertisement story. I saw somebody writing that this was a Cadbury's ad. But this ad is of Samsung. And if you remember, there was this ad a few years ago. There was a blind school in the hills. And this TV repair man is going to repair the TV because the girl who is in charge of the blind school has called him up. He doesn't know that they are blind. He goes, but it takes him time because the hill is far and there are lots of wood logs have fallen on the road because of a storm. He gets a little late. But when he reaches, he finds the in-charge girl is blind. He repairs the TV. 20 more children come down and they are also blind. And the girl tells him that it is our friend is appearing on Saregama today on TV. We want to watch her. Not watch, they can't watch, but listen to her singing. And that TV is repaired just in time. The TV repair man has tears in his eyes, emotional. All of them are dancing because their friend is singing in Saregama live. They cannot see that friend, but they can only hear. And they are they are totally joyful. Now, if we learn from this ad, the TV repair man learns the lesson of a lifetime. That however low we might be, however many problems we might have in life, we can still be good to others. We can still be absolutely fine. We can still be absolutely courageous. we can still have a lot of empathy. We can still have a lot of concern for others. So even if you are not 100% happy in life, we can still be helpful to others. And who is 100% happy in life? The saint said the smooth life is not a successful life. Ups and downs of life will come and go. They will come and go. So let them come and go. And be resilient, be strong, be absolutely clear that you will not allow yourself to be low. And each time you feel low, bounce back. Bouncing back is also very important in life. You don't feel low for 1 month at a stretch. 1 or 2 days is okay. Moods are also of no use. Paramahansa Yogananda said, moods are your greatest enemies. Today you are in a bad mood. What for? Snap out of it within a minute and you will see how life becomes easier for others as well. So I think relationships, personal relationships, official relationships, leading others, all these things depend on the state of our minds. And the battle of life is fought in the mind. And the goal of life is happiness. Now I'm sounding like my TEDx talks, but just to close, if the goal of life is happiness, then we need to win the battle within. That within battle. Nothing can make you happy if you are determined to be unhappy. But nothing can make you unhappy if you are determined to be happy. That is what the saint said. I'm not saying, that's not my quote. So please encourage your students, encourage each other, encourage your families, and always spread happiness and cheerfulness. And the last quote I'll share for young people, children is, life is not about marks. You can share with your younger people, life is not about marks. Life is about making a mark. Making a mark is more important. And that is what I have been quoted many times elsewhere also. So thank you very much. I think that's good enough for a lecture and we can have an interaction now.
Yes, sir. No,
Anybody wants to ask any questions, any
Yes, sir.
comments, any remarks? Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
Is there some on the chat? Let me see. Yes, Swagata Ghosh also watched that Samsung ad. Navneet says yes. Dr. Saranya says power supply disconnected. Okay. Mallika says Venus says just Swinder, you need to just mute yourself. I will ask.
Namaskar, sir. I'm Swinder from Punjab Institute Textile Technology, Amritsar.
Yes, ma'am.
सर पहले तो थैंक यू सो मच, आपने बहुत अच्छा हमें मोटिवेशनल वो एक एज ए स्पीकर लेक्चर दिया आपने. थैंक यू सो मच, इट्स वेरी इंस्पायरिंग फॉर अस.
Thank you.
सर इफ़ यू डोंट माइंड मैं कुछ क्वेश्चंस पूछ सकती हूँ आपसे.
हाँ जी बिल्कुल.
सर जैसे आपने बताया कि पहले आप एज ए आईएएस ऑफिसर काम कर रहे थे, तो बहुत वर्थ आपने काम किया है, तो फिर आप बोले कि आप स्पीकर बनना चाहते थे एक, तो इसलिए आपने वो क्विट करी जॉब. तो क्या आपके मतलब वो क्या एक मोटिवेशन थी जो आपने उस जॉब को छोड़ के एज ए स्पीकर आपने उस क्विट करा उसको? If you don't mind.
ये क्वेश्चन मैं हूँ तो मुझे इसका आंसर तो इसका आंसर ये है
क्योंकि ये हमें इंस्पायर करेगा सर. क्योंकि कई दफा हम उस कैरियर में होते हैं तो हम चाहते हैं कि अपने एक और विश होती कि कुछ और कैरियर को अडॉप्ट किया जाए.
मैं वही बता रहा हूँ. So हुआ क्या I became a सर्विस में ही मैंने स्पीकिंग शुरू कर ली. So I started going to TEDx talks, other places for talks, and people found my talks to be quite good. I got good reception, good feedback. Lots of people wanted to take pictures with me. I felt like a celebrity. और ये IAS में भी इतना ज़्यादा popularity नहीं था जितना कि यहाँ है. So I realized that the youth of India needs to listen to somebody like me, who is from IAS. They respect the IAS, they look up to us, they want to be like us. And there are lakhs of youth who want to prepare for UPSC, but they are feeling low. They are under pressure. And not only UPSC, even a 10th, 11th class student is feeling under pressure. तो मैंने बोला मैंने motivation करना है आपसे. ये मोटिवेशन जो है इसको हम ज्यादा तवज्जो नहीं देते, इंपॉर्टेंस नहीं देते, बट इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट वी, some of us, you, I, Harpreet, anybody, we should motivate others. So मैंने बोला कि I will do this full time because I was already getting invitations from all over India, and I was also getting an advisory role in a university, Shulini University, Solan. So I realized that I can be more active for the society and the youth in this role. Already I have done 25 years of service, and I wanted to do this more often. I could not do it much in service. एक महीने में एक बार लेक्चर दिया. अभी मैं रोज 2-3 लेक्चर दे रहा हूँ ऑनलाइन, या फिर ट्रैवल करता हूँ तो I go to various places in India, and I have 35 lakh views on YouTube. तो मेरा जो मकसद था वो भी पूरा हो रहा है. ये इसीलिए मैंने रिजाइन किया, टू स्प्रेड द पॉजिटिव मैसेज टू द यूथ.
थैंक यू सो मच सर.
Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
सर सोनिया सिंगला है.
Yes, Sonia.
सर मुझे ये पूछना है कि जैसे मैं भी बहुत सारे फील्ड में काम करती रहती हूँ, बट कहीं ना कहीं एक अंदर से एक इंस्पिरेशन है कि एक मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर बनना मेरा भी एक ख्वाब है, या लगा लो कि अच्छा, तो उसमें हम लोग किस तरीके से मैं इस पाथ पे प्रोसीड करूँ?
Yes, that's a good question, Sonia. Bilkul, one should become a motivational speaker because I feel that we all have good experiences which the young people can learn from. और अगर हम उनको motivate करेंगे तो हमारा उनको contribution बहुत ज़्यादा होगा. And what I also want to say is that even if you tell your own story, that I grew up here, I went to college here, I became a teacher here, or whatever, and I went through ups and downs like this, or whatever you tell, that is motivational for others. So when you start talking to young people about how to handle life's problems, that is a good enough motivation to them. Only one thing is to not criticize people too much. In your motivational story, we can't say that so and so boss was really mean to me and bad to me, and therefore I was like this, and उसको ज़्यादा emphasize नहीं करना, उसको 1-2 sentences में बोल के आगे चलो. The point being that we have to spread cheerfulness and motivation because people lack motivation today, and nobody talks of it. Only one movie talked of it. वो कौन सी movie थी, border वाली, वो How's the Josh? That How's the Josh movie, Vicky Kaushal, and that movie is the only one which talked about the Josh. So we need to talk about Josh, enthusiasm, motivation. If you become a speaker, I'll be happy to guide you on public speaking skills, and you can definitely become a speaker.
थैंक यू सर. और एक क्वेश्चन और है कि वैसे मैं अप्रोक्सीमेट 20 ईयर्स से टीचिंग लाइन में हूँ, और बहुत सारे बच्चों को मैंने मोटिवेट किया, इवन उनके पेरेंट्स वो भी आज तक सेटिस्फाइड है, और बच्चे बहुत हाई लेवल तक गए. पर कहीं ना कहीं मुझे लग रहा है मैं अपने बच्चों को उस इंस्पिरेशन में नहीं कर पाई, अपने बोथ किड्स को. वो क्यों नहीं हो रहा दैट, जबकि मैं खुद उनके सामने एक एग्जांपल हूँ. या टाइम मैनेजमेंट ला लो, एज ए डिसिप्लिन लगाओ. व्हाई आई कांट, दैट इज डीमोटिवेट मी लिटिल बिट फ्रैंकली.
I understand. It happens क्योंकि we treat our own children differently from others. The impact is not that much because they take us lightly also at times. ये तो हमारी मम्मा है, they take us for granted. The parents take the children for granted. The problem of life is that we take our loved ones for granted, and we are very serious when we talk to the boss and the colleagues, जो कि इतने important नहीं है life में actually if you look at it. The immediate family has to take the best out of us. So in your case, I would say the children need motivation from you, but they also need motivation from outside. Because when parents are taken lightly, then some uncle, some officer, some motivational speaker, you can contact me. I will be happy to speak to them once. They basically need to be channelized in the right direction. अगर हम उनको channelize करेंगे तो फिर वो उनकी energy सही में use होगी. So I think we can help each other.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, that's my Instagram ID, which I have written on the chat. If you want to connect on Instagram, and on YouTube and LinkedIn, it is just my name. You can find me easily, and easily you can be in touch with me. And so glad to see that even now there are about 130 people on the call, which means I didn't do a bad job.
Very good afternoon, Mr. Vivek. This is Dr. Poonam. We did speak the other day, and I have been attending your session all through, and I have no words. And I personally feel that even if we are amidst the FDP program, but this was the most needed session, and now I understand that why such like session has been made compulsory. And I can say that because I'm myself as a leader touched by whatever you were saying. So, you know, it's not only about thanking you for the session today. I have a question to ask you, sir.
Sure,
and the question is, it's not only the people who get demotivated, even the leaders get demotivated. You know, times are often stressful. You know, we're working with very, very different kind of people who have very different temperaments. We try and maintain our cool. You know, you've been in administration for such a long time. We try and maintain our cool. But the job is such that ultimately, end of the day, the show has to go on. And we try this way or that way with being good. And sometimes we have to be a little harsh also, because we want that the organization should go and we all should together grow as individuals. Rather, we should all grow and the organization should grow.
Yeah.
So certain times when the responsiveness is not of the similar degree as we are trying to motivate, then we ourselves get motivated, and I get demotivated so many times. So kindly give me a tip today that how can we all remain motivated all the time?
Very good question, ma'am. Very nice to meet you here. And let me say that everything is relative.
Yeah.
So a leader is also a follower. A
Yes.
follower is also a leader.
Yes.
And it is, and there's another quote which is not directly relevant, but it is similar in some ways. That is, a saint is a sinner who never gave up.
Yes.
A saint is a sinner who never gave up. It's a wonderful quote for everybody because it means that we keep on keeping on. We keep on trying. We keep on trying. Now, in motivation, what happens is that once in a while you can feel energy low. We can feel demotivated, as you said. We go back to our roots. We go back to our favorite book. You have also been a girl in school or college.
Yes.
You
Yes.
have loved some books or loved some movies.
Yes.
And you go back to them, you spend time with them, you motivate yourself with friends who you haven't spoken to for 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, your classmates with whom you were a chirpy little girl, friends, you know, where you can just be yourself. Because even a leader needs to let the hair down sometimes. You cannot be impeccably perfect all the time. You have to be yourself. And to be yourself, that coffee with a friend, that chat with a friend, that reading that old book or laughing a little with the family or whatever you can do keeps you going and releases those happy hormones I was talking about. Also, I think bringing the best out of your team is a matter of realizing again that everybody is not the same.
Yes.
There may be some who are responding better than others. Some who are still stubborn or deliberately, not deliberately, but they just can't do what is expected. I think one-to-one counseling, if I'm giving a secret away in public, one-to-one counseling will help them. And if you call them one by one and have a cup of tea or even once a month and talk to them instead of talking in a group, they may feel and they may open out a little more and you may get the best out of them. And then you will have to, in your mind, also understand each one of them and see how to make which one work. So it's a complex issue, and at times we can be imperfect, but at times we need to be perfect. At times we need to be better than other times. I think to get the best out of people, we have to inspire them by our own example. And sometimes you're feeling low, but you're still smiling.
Yeah.
And that is the key that a leader has to display. That's the thing.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, sir. And trust me, it's so very motivating because I think, I also, as other people, need it. And there are so many teachers who are available online, almost 118 which shows plus 12 more, which are hitting. I think they all must be sailing in this boat as I'm sailing today, one or the other time. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We've got
Just a
wonderful
minute.
news
Just a
about
minute.
your talk from everybody here, and we look forward to having you at NIFT also. And it's not only NIIFT Ludhiana. I presently represent NIIFT Mohali, Ludhiana and Jalandhar, and I will try to seek time from you. And once the COVID-19 situation is over, I would be very happy if you can personally visit us also.
Surely, I would love to.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Most welcome. Thank you all. Good to meet you, and stay in touch on social media. It's a connected world. Don't overconnect with anybody, but reasonable connection is good. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
For such a wonderful, powerful session, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.